stance. I'm really like getting the bike.
In a recent session with 2018 National Enduro Champion Portia Murdoch, I was working with her on her off-camber turns. And one of the things that came up was this idea of setting her edge into the turn. What Portia was doing is coming into the turn and putting her outside foot all the way down prior to the turn, which it can actually stand the bike up a little bit. But one of the main things that it takes away is our ability to edge set. So here I'm demonstrating to her how to set her edge and not use all her footwork in the process. So let's just go through this frame by frame here and check it out. So I'm coming into this turn, and as I enter the turn here, I've got level feet. So we can see that quite clearly here. My feet are level as I'm approaching the turn. As I come in, I'm going to make a very defined move here to move into my outside foot and rotate my hips simultaneously. So here the bike starts to lean. That's the key point here, is that the bike should lean before I set my foot. If I set my foot first, the bike will stand up and won't be able to lean. So here I'm about to set my foot fairly rapidly. You can really see this moment where I start to create outside foot pressure and my right hip starts to point to the left, which is the direction I'm trying to turn in. So the other thing we see here as I set my edge is that you can see my suspension settings. So you really see the front fork compress here, okay? This is super important. This is a long off-camber corner with a lot of rocks and roots in it. And so I really need my suspension to be in a state where it's partially compressed, not fully compressed, but really in a state where there's positive and negative travel available. Because in an off-camber turn, the main threat that I have is losing traction due to not being compressed. So my suspension's able to do a really important job here. By being compressed, the suspension is now able to deal with bumps and things like that, where the fork can actually reach out and the rear shock can actually reach out and keep the tires connected with the ground. We can really see that action here. All right, so let's take a look through this another time, just kind of breaking it down one more time, seeing what I'm up to here. So here I come in, again coming in, just in a very neutral position, what we call throne position with the Fluidride method, essentially a standing posture. And then as I move in, I'm going to create a lot of footwork and hip rotation in the same moment. What this is also going to do with my body is it's going to give me a very low position through a turn. So you can see here that I'm kind of in more of an attack position here as I come in. So I've moved from my throne position and really set my edge. And because of how much I'm driving my knees forward and rotating my hips, the combination of those two things makes my overall stance lower than it would be maybe in a berm turn or in a slalom drill, where I'm not having to twist my hips. Again, the action of bending the knees more, twisting the hips more, all those things lower my overall height, which gives me a lot of traction and control because it gives me a very low center of mass as I move through here. Notice also that my outside foot is not at 6 o'clock here. Okay, so I've got space with my outside foot should the bike happen to slide on one of the many routes that we can't actually see very clearly in this video. So a lot of things going on here that are all conspiring to give me good traction and control. Again, coming in neutral, moving in, creating a very deliberate edge set here as I move into the turn, setting the edge and getting good hip rotation, raising the outside elbow, good suspension compression, nice compression of my actual outside leg, which is a really important function of my suspension. That's my human suspension, and then able to come up and go on my way out of the turn. Portia really made a lot of advances with her off-camber turns. Super excited to share those with you as we get that all edited up.